Let me introduce myself. My name is Naima. I will be your AI for this session. Just a reminder, unauthorized release of classified materials can result in criminal prosecution. Let's begin. Start visual stimuli.
Roger, you're loud and clear, Houston. Roger, we confirm. Roger.
End visual stimuli. Please introduce yourself and begin.
My name is Pete Winston. I live in Santa Cruz now, but I used to live in New Jersey back when I was in the news game. 20 years ago, I used to work for the Daily Times, a small newspaper. It's out of business now. I was young, out looking to break my first story. Back then, there was no Twitter, no Google, no Facebook, no cell phones. Man, I could have used a smartphone back in the day.
So how did you find out about the Silent Threat website?
I found out about the website about a year ago. Hard to believe it's been around 20 years. It was a blog back then. I was a little skeptical at first. Then I made up my mind that I was going to do this thing. And I wanted to do it because this is the only forum where I can even tell this story, where I'm even allowed to tell this story.
So tell us about the incident in 1986.
1986, I was in Des Moines, Iowa, doing a story about farmers losing cattle. I thought it was some political scandal about farmers trying to jack up the price of beef. I remember I was walking along the road. There was no one out at the time. I remember hearing this huge booming sound, like an earthquake. I looked over, and I couldn't believe what I'm seeing. I walked for what seemed like about 20 minutes, and I came into a clearing. This thing was huge. I remember thinking, this is the size of a 747. I started taking pictures immediately. I remember taking shots while I walked, almost as if I thought if I stopped taking pictures, the thing might turn out to be a dream or something. But from what I know, what I've been researching, this thing was much bigger than the Roswell craft. Got close. I stopped when I was about 10 feet from the craft. I saw this opening. It looked like there was a hole that had been blown out from the bottom. I took a couple of shots. And then, going against common sense, I went inside. There was a power core in the center. It had this blue-green light, brilliant with plasma energy just pulsating off of it. The interior smelled of sulfur, lots of smoke, dust. I had a hard time breathing. That's when I saw it. I looked down and saw the crystal. A lot of them were scattered on the floor, I guess because of the impact. I thought I saw, a sense that something was moving in the corner of my eyes. It might be something barely alive, maybe a survivor, but maybe I just didn't want to know. I felt a tremor, and I knew it was just time to go. I barely made it out. I was careful in trying to cover my tracks because I knew the minute the feds found out, it was all over. I took a flight to Newark Airport and started making phone calls the minute I got in.
An unidentified flying object has crashed, repeat, crashed near Des Moines, Iowa. And I have evidence.
What I didn't realize until later was that my press badge was missing. It was out in a wheat field in Iowa. And unfortunately, the feds found it.
Welcome to the Ralph Dawson Report. A couple of things...
That night I was making calls, trying to piece the thing together, trying to be careful.
Here's something about UFO sightings over Iowa. Ironically, at the same time, the U.S. was testing its so-called...
Hello, I'd like to speak to John Zakoria.
It seems that the laser shot down something during its test run besides the dummy satellite it was supposed to shoot down. Now, if the dummies
can I
at the
leave a
space
message?
agency and in the military could figure out what they had shot down, we'd have something. The official
Tell them
explanation
to call
is that
Ted
the
at,
laser satellite
595
malfunctioned
308.
spontaneously.
9. Yeah, he knows who I am. Okay, thanks a lot.
Well, the construction crew found me 2 weeks later, laying in a rubble of what was left of my apartment. Here's a picture of me when they found me. A colleague took this photo. Ironically, it is the only photo ever printed in a newspaper of this whole event. They said I was buried under the debris and didn't realize I was there.
So what was the aftermath after you came back?
I got screwed. I got put in jail and held in custody for a week. That was a warning. If they had a Gitmo back then, that's where I would have ended up, as an enemy combatant. They just needed an excuse. All my stories got censored. They raided my dad's house and took all my stuff. My camera was actually found in the rubble when they found me. They took my camera, and of course, I never saw those photos. I lost my job at the Daily Times. I never got a job in a newspaper again. I mean, how would all this look on a resume? So I went out west, got a job at Home Depot, got married, had a couple of kids, and well, now at least I'm the store manager. Years later, a doctor found the implant. I had them remove it, and the minute the doctor put it in a glass tube, it dissolved. At least, that's what the doctors told me. I had everything from nightmares and sleepwalking to mood swings. It resembled post-traumatic stress disorder. I would wake up screaming and scare the hell out of my wife. Thank God for my family, or I don't think I would have ever gotten through this. Well, I don't know what else to say except that's my story.
This will end today's session. Thank you very much, Pete Winston. And audio and visual stimuli.